I have the power! There it is. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Doing my best friend entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ray. I got a cortisone shot in my shoulder this morning. I have the power, my friend, today for at least 4 to 6 months till this thing wears off again. For everybody wondering, I'm doing fine. This is a normal thing for me. It was raining a lot here this morning. Now it's super sunny out, which means that late fall has decided to make an appearance. We've had a beautiful fall here in Philadelphia, Ray. Just the leaves are on the trees, changing colors, really beautiful. But the last couple of weeks, winter has been, oh, you're having fun? You having a good time? Here's some frozen rain. Here's a cold morning. Here's some traffic because for some reason we drive differently in the rain in this area. It doesn't make any sense. And if it ever rained in California, you would understand that.
No, yes. Well, when it does rain here, everybody, I mean, people, yeah, that sometimes happens, but yes, but when it's water, it is, the people out here just don't know what the heck they're doing.
Right. Yeah. What do we do with this? It's a desert.
Yeah,
it was a desert.
They're lost. They're lost when the sun is out. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, fearless overlord, sun.
Yeah, I get a lot of use out of the horn on my Honda Civic out here because I want people to move faster, and they don't understand that if they move faster, they get to where they're going sooner, and they can go faster a lot of the time. So. Anyway, but we have a big show for you all today. Folks, not a lot of topics, but we're going to go deep into some of them. A lot of football and a lot of video game stuff. And really, that's it. There's several video game stories, some fun stuff. So a little bit of breaking news about the sacred timeline, but as in the Zelda timeline, if you're a video game fan.
That's funny how you segued that. Yes.
But yeah, we got some fun stuff. But we're going to kick things off this week with a little college football. And Lee, we're coming up to the end of the college football season.
It's the best college football season that's ever been played in our lifetime.
100%. I am loving everything I'm watching in college football. And even though I don't really have much of a rooting interest, I guess I kind of sort of root for Rutgers, even though, I mean, talk about another team that had a disastrous loss this week. We'll get into all of that. But just tons of upsets this week as we're getting ready into we're starting to see the clinching of the conference championships, at least who will be playing in the conference championships. A lot of teams wrapping up their regular season, and then of course the playoffs. Playoffs.
Yeah, people our age can't do that without saying that.
Yeah, it is a millennial thing at this point. It will always and forever be if you're a football fan from the Colts way back when. But yeah, Lee, lots and lots of upsets. I mean, we'll kick things off, I suppose, with I guess we'll get this out of the way. Shedeur Sanders in Colorado, and God bless Deion for I actually think Deion's message to his team was phenomenal. After that, they lost to unranked Kansas. Kansas is a good team, even though they're unranked. They've actually locked off 3 ranked opponents in a row. And if they had won just a couple of those earlier season one-score games, we'd probably be talking about them possibly in the rankings, or at the very least a bowl game. Instead, they are not bowl eligible. At least last I saw, they only have 5 wins. They're going to likely miss a bowl, but they knock off Colorado 37-21. And Deion said it. It sounded like you all started to believe the hype, and you got humbled. And boy, did they get humbled. Lee, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Deion's message to his team? This is the first of many upsets we saw on Saturday.
Look, I've always been a fan of Deion Sanders and Coach Prime. I think he's doing this right. I think that being real with your athletes is the best thing you can possibly do, right? But he also presented that in a way of, you got to grow from this, you got to learn from this, and that life's not always fair and it's not always a fairy tale. I also love how he came out recently to the media and basically blasted them of like, I think you're all putting a lot of hate on my team because of me. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. Do your jobs. There's a football team here. I am me, but that has nothing to do with Shedeur or the rest of the team. Right. So I've always liked him from day one. I think what Deion is doing, Ray, really well is giving everybody a real peek inside what collegiate and professional sports actually looks like
Yeah.
And I think people are a little bit surprised. Like, college and pro sports is not a carnival, right? It's work, it's pain, it's challenging, it's brutal. It can be wonderful too. But yeah, I love it. I think everyone's getting a look inside. I think it's the right message. I think too many people get lost in their ego with this guy on whether they loved or hated him as a player.
Yeah.
These are young people in that locker room doing a professional job, right? Yeah. It's good on him, man. And look, we're not talking about Colorado 4 years ago at all. The fact we're even talking about
they were a 1-win team when
he
took
like,
over.
Like we're talking about they're on the national stage, getting national broadcasts. I mean, that tells you the success of what he's doing there. They are a legit contender. All right, for collegiate football. I'm not saying top 25 or anything like that, but like we're talking the same as Kansas. Like it's, that's the win right there.
Yeah, no, Colorado did. I mean, Colorado is ranked still number 23, but their hopes of the college football playoff have all but been dashed with that loss. But yeah, I mean, I love what I like Deion the coach much more than I ever liked Deion the player.
For sure, he's a mature Deion for sure.
For sure, and to your point, again, I think there's a lot of folks that still hold that grudge against him for how he was when he was a player.
Yeah,
and they can't. It's amazing how they can't separate the two.
Well, what's amazing, right? I was just watching a clip from The Last Dance the other night with Michael Jordan talking about how he played the game, and it's like you're all getting a nice little view of the violent nature mentally and physically of sports. And I always tell people, like, you got to be careful as a fan when you get into this world, because when you start to see the game as a different thing, some of the magic it enhances, but it also goes away. Like the childhood side of it kind of dribbles, and you realize, like, my God, these are modern gladiators. And that most of us at home don't know what we're talking about, but nobody wants to hear that, Ray.
No,
I've been watching this sport for 40 years. You know some stuff if you've been watching it for 40 years, but I'll tell you what, if you've never had a 6'7" guy weighing 315 pounds running faster than you can at you and trying to kill you, you don't know, do you? You don't know.
No.
I'm going to be the a-hole right now. You don't know. You don't know what that's like.
It's very easy to be a Monday, or in this case, Tuesday morning quarterback.
Yes.
And it's a lot easier to be a Stephen A. Smith than a Shannon Sharp.
Yeah. Yes.
So
that's a great analogy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, yeah. So, and to be fair, at least in terms of, we're a couple of Stephen A. Smiths,
Well,
more than I would, because you played.
If we're out of hockey, I'd say that for sure.
Yeah. But again, you just gotta. It's being aware of your biases and trying to overcome them is something that the media should try to do. But we'll see if that probably won't ever happen. Not anymore. Ohio State beat Indiana handily, not surprisingly. I mean, this was a 2-5. Indiana slips a little bit. I think Indiana still belongs, obviously, in the playoffs. That's their first loss of the year.
For sure.
So basically after that, and then after Notre Dame stomping Army, which we kind of, not surprising.
It was likely to happen.
Yes. I would have loved to have seen Army knock off Notre Dame, just because I think it would have been a great story. But Notre Dame looking like the perennial powerhouse that they always are. We'll see if they actually do anything in the playoffs. They've obviously in recent years they've had a lot of great regular seasons, and then they get blown out in the first round of the playoffs. Not that the playoffs are more rounds. We'll see if they actually do anything. But with that lead, there's only one undefeated team left, and it's Oregon still atop the standings at number 1. Dylan Gabriel leading the Ducks. Quack. Wait, wrong Ducks, but still, I think it still works here. Atop the standings. But I think you're starting to see the cream of the crop rise to the top, and surprisingly, Alabama is not in the cream of the crop anymore after their loss by 3 touchdowns to unranked Oklahoma. Lee, it seems unheard of that we are going to have a college football playoff, most likely, without Alabama in it after the expansion.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I mean, look, it shows you how valuable Nick Saban was to that program. I mean, you can't not say that. The other thing too is
college game day now.
yeah, he is. And I'll tell you what, this is just like Coach Prime said. He believe the hype, you lose to the hype. Like what I love about all this, Ray, is it proves the need for this playoff.
Yes.
Right? That any given Saturday moniker is so true, and that the way this has been done forever has been so wrong, right? And that this is going to be somebody, because anyone can beat anyone on a good day.
Yeah.
Right. And I think to be a champion, you should have to earn your rights to that game. Right now, I'm not saying the teams in the past that have won didn't earn that. I think if you're 1-2, you've earned something for sure. But when there's a 12-team playoff field, Oregon's having a great season. They can lose. Anyone can win this thing. And listen, I think that you'll see one upset in this playoff. Okay, I don't think it's going to be a lot. No, I would say just one big upset's what I'm expecting. When I say upset too, I don't mean like a 2 versus a 3, right? Like not that that's not going to happen, but like I'm saying, like I could see some of these. I think the top teams are going to start really being top teams.
Yeah.
But I love it. You don't know who's going to win. I mean, it was so boring to me every year with the same 6 teams. It's just
100%.
Anyway, it's up for anyone to win right now. Like we said, Boise State right there in the running, going to win the conference. It's amazing, so this is good for football. I'm not against Alabama, but it's probably good that they're not there. That'll shake things up down there a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
The SEC, not what it used to be, right?
Well, I mean, it's. I think the SEC is still a powerhouse. It's. I think that you're starting to see a little bit more pressure from the Big Ten, especially now that Oregon and a lot of those former Pac-12 teams, are now part of. You have the Pac-2, right? Which I think is Oregon State and Washington State. And everybody else went to the Big Ten, which is now an 18-team conference. I still think that's ridiculous, but you got to change your names. You got to change.
Yeah, it is dumb, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that I think you're going to figure out what's happening is the rest of college football is catching up to the SEC. Right. I don't think the SEC has gotten necessarily worse. I think that everybody else is finally, especially with the help of the transfer portal.
Right.
I think you're starting to see parity in college football for the first time in our lives. That's it.
Yeah. And it's about time. How about that?
Yes. And part of it's because of NILs. Part of it's because of, again, the transfer portal, right? Like, and it's about. I think it's about time. If colleges want to spend the money to bring the best high school athletes to their school, they can now.
Right.
And so you're starting to see the playing field.
Well, it is what it is. It is minor league football, and that is what it should have been for years.
Yes. 100%.
So I'm glad that it's happening.
100%. A couple other big upsets. Arizona State beat BYU, which basically means BYU is likely out of the playoff, and Arizona State jumps up to 14. They still have if they win out, they still have a chance to get to the playoff. Arizona State, as they completely the Sun Devils down there, they have been playing some good ball. I've actually seen a couple of their games on TV out here on the West Coast, and that is a team that coach, they believe in their coach. They have some good talent. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, even if they do get in the college football playoff. But that is a team and a program back on the upswing, for sure. And then, of course, and Ole Miss loses.
Yeah, they're out too right now.
Yeah, that is a huge shock that Florida knocks them off 24-17. And yeah, again, to your point, you're starting to see the SEC, and you're starting to see a bit more parity. As that is another massive loss on Saturday.
Yeah, Ole Miss was always up and down, but they were never this down. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's another thing. Ole Miss is usually somewhere in the teens. So it's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they're still ranked 13, but I think or 15, but they're on the outside looking in now because of a bad loss to an unranked Florida team. Florida's okay, but if at this point of the season you can't lose that game and be a playoff team. Right. It's that simple. And that's what's gonna probably happen. So it's gonna be really interesting to see. Like you said, are we gonna get some? We're gonna get some upsets in the playoffs. I don't know, probably, but it's gonna be fun. It's been the most fun with college football, like you said, Lee, that I've had in my life.
I mean, we're talking about it every week, whereas before we never would because it was the same. It was always Alabama,
Yeah.
Louisiana. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just the
we would
same.
talk about the national championship, and that was basically it.
Yeah, and there was usually a bad game, so I'm
Yeah,
excited.
usually. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm excited for the playoffs. And
Playoffs.
yeah, playoffs. Yeah, so college football. Good on you for fixing things. Moving on now. Well, we're gonna get into a lot of things that need to be fixed later. We're gonna talk about the Eagles and Giants. We're gonna save those.
Oh, I can't wait
for the back end of our NFL segment.
Cannot wait.
Because we're gonna get into it. You're starting to see everything really shape up in the NFL. To know somebody's. We said at the beginning of the year, the top two teams probably in the NFC, maybe San Fran. San Fran having a down year. San Fran lost another bad game. They lost by big in Green Bay. But the cream of the crop in the NFC is the Eagles and the Lions. In the AFC, it's the Chiefs and the Bills. Maybe the Ravens and Steelers belong in there. But if you're talking about your A-tier teams, it's Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, Bills.
It's that. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be a real sleeper now at this point to get those guys out of there. I mean, the Eagles, by the way, not starting the season there, but definitely anybody who would say that's not true right now is not watching.
No, they started 2-2, and now they've won what, 8 in a row, 7 in a row.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is that you want me to save this for later because we can talk about it now if you want. I'm high up on the Eagles right now.
Yeah, I mean, as you should be.
Yeah.
But well, let's save the Eagles because we have other NFL games that we should talk about first.
Sure.
Cleveland upsetting Pittsburgh. I think that this is the Thursday night game. The curse. I feel like the worst team plays better on Thursday nights than a good team, and I think Pittsburgh. Also divisional rivals, the snow. Although I did think it was not smart of George Pickens to for Pittsburgh. We're going to get into receivers later who putting their foots in their mouths. But George Pickens for Pittsburgh basically being like, they only won because it snowed. And it's like, you play in the same conditions. And you play in Pittsburgh. You are also a cold weather city team. That plays outdoors.
Yeah.
Just admit you got knocked in the mouth by a divisional rival. I get it, Cleveland. I mean, I said it was at the beginning of the year that honestly, Jameis Winston was the best chance for Cleveland to win games over Deshaun Watson, and he's 1-2 as Deshaun 1-1, and that's a team. That's a dude having fun right now in Cleveland, even though Cleveland's going nowhere. They could be scrappy, and they could probably play spoiler down the stretch. Lee, what are your thoughts on? Do you have any thoughts on Cleveland and Pittsburgh?
No, I mean, when I look at those teams right now, Ray, it's just mediocrity. It's just nothing else to talk about there. I mean, like I said, they're middle of the pack or not, and it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. Well, in Pittsburgh losing now means that they're only a half game up on Baltimore, as Baltimore wins the third. John Harbaugh has beaten his brother all 3 times they've met, as John beats Jim and the Chargers 30-23 on Monday night. And we're going to get into this. Obviously, the Ravens making a big splash in free agency, getting a running back named Derrick Henry. What a concept! Elite running backs help your offense.
Right. Amazing concept.
Amazing. But I mean, Lee, right now you got Pittsburgh at 8-3. You got Baltimore at 8-4. These two teams obviously still have to meet. It feels like every year these two teams are meeting for the division title. It's probably what's going to happen again this year. I'm picking Baltimore in the long run with 6 weeks to go. But what about you? Baltimore,
I'm in the same boat. Baltimore has more seasoned players that understand how to play down the line at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. That's not a shot at Pittsburgh. Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to forget how close Baltimore was to the Super Bowl the last few years, right? Mm-hmm. It's a good division. I think that division actually hurts them in the postseason because they're battling for it every single year. But Lamar is the guy. I mean, that's the X factor for me.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I definitely think that I think Baltimore has more talent. Them too. They got off to a rough start. They lost their first 2 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're playing better right now.
They had to figure out how to, they lost a heartbreaker to Kansas City by literally a toe being out the back of the end zone in the first week of the season. And then they had a letdown the following week. And then they played the Cowboys and got healthy, like a lot of teams have this year.
Yeah. A lot of it depends on just the scheduling for the last 6 games. But They're an elite team, right? They're just like I said, you had the 4 teams there. This is a team that's right after that, probably.
Yeah, no, for sure. If there's a B tier, second tier, I think both Pittsburgh and Baltimore actually falls into that.
Yeah.
And then probably you also would get the Vikings and Green Bay, I think, from the NFC. Those are your B tier teams. But we mentioned the Cowboys. Lee,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this game was
helped me out.
well, it did. I think it was like 10-9 for most of the game.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you had this massive explosion in the fourth quarter. 41 combined points scored, and Dallas holds on 34-26. Washington, to be fair, Dallas returned the onside kick for a touchdown there at the end to kind of seal the deal. But like Washington missed 2 extra points. If Washington doesn't miss those extra points, Washington, another miracle play, would have won this game.
Right.
What does this say about these two teams? I still think Dallas is dead in the water, although they will beat my Giants this week. We'll get to that again in a second. And that'll improve them to 5-7, but I still don't think Dallas is going anywhere. But Washington now has lost 3 in a row, including 2 to division rivals in the Cowboys and Eagles. You know, Jaden Daniels obviously probably going to be rookie of the year. But are they coming back down to earth? Is this just a bump in the road? Is this an experience thing? What are your thoughts on the Washington Commanders, who are now probably solidly going to be a wild card team?
Well, I think it's what you just said at the end of the day. It's an experience thing, right? And the Cowboys do have players that know how to win, right? But I think what this game showed is, how inconsistent the Cowboys are. You know, you decide to turn it on in the fourth quarter. So these things happen. No, like that's probably how you should have been playing the whole season.
Right.
The other thing too is that this is the Commanders are this is growing pains now, right? And again, the worst thing you could do in DC is overthink this, and over Maryland, excuse me, is overthink what's happening right now. Like we say it every effing year, it's a division game. It does not matter who you think should win. You never know who's going to win a division game, right? And the Cowboys are look, they're a seasoned team that's having a bad season. Right. So it's like they're gonna steal games like that if you let them in it. Right. So again, I think that was just some inexperience on the Commanders, and also the Cowboys maybe having enough of being mediocre. Right. But yeah, it's a fluke ending. Like it's not going to spark one of the teams to go on a losing streak or a winning streak. I was going to say, Ray, I wouldn't count the Giants out against the Cowboys. Like the same thing. You never know.
No, I would. I would.
If you're going to win a game, you are at rock bottom right now with the Giants. I will say that.
Yeah,
I think
we're going to get to them.
You can't get any lower than you're at.
Saving it for the end, because boy, do I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think on Thanksgiving, I think honestly we got 3 bad Thanksgiving games. I really don't care about any of these games coming up, because I really think we got, was it Miami and the Rams? It's just like, or whatever. Right what is that?
I'll look it up right now for you.
I guess the thing I couldn't even care.
Yeah, that's that shows it, right? That shows
it just
as soon as I wanted it.
Yeah, Bears, Lions, Dolphins, Packers. Excuse me, Dolphins, Packers.
It's you got Bears, Lions, Cowboys, Giants, Dolphins, Packers.
I'm gonna tell you right now, folks. The Packers win, the Lions win, the Cowboys win. Don't even bother watching. Honestly, Miami, especially, I think that's in Lambeau. Yes, it's in Lambeau.
Raiders,
Miami
Chiefs on Friday.
That might be a better. Well, actually, no, because the Raiders are
going to get killed in that game.
The Raiders are terrible. Like honestly, these special games over Thanksgiving weekend are horrible.
Yeah, well, I think the NFL was hoping that these would be better matchups.
You've got three of them are division matchups: Bears, Lions, Giants, Cowboys.
Yeah, in different years, these are really big games.
Sure, not this year.
Not this year.
Like, I mean, that's again, to the point is, I can believe I didn't even remember what the schedule is, because
no, the big games this week are Eagles, Ravens.
Yep.
Chargers, Falcons.
Yep.
Cardinals, Vikings should be competitive, right?
I think so. The Cardinals, I think they had a letdown against the Seahawks last week, but the Cardinals are. I think to me, the Cardinals are still the favorite to win that division.
Yeah, and then if you want a competitive game but not a great game, Bucks, Panthers might be good.
Panthers are playing better. They actually pushed the Chiefs to the brink, but again, they made the mistake of leaving Mahomes with a minute and a half to go and all timeouts and stuff.
Yeah, Rams, Saints should be okay too.
Saints are playing better since
Niners, Bills. Niners, Bills
could be good.
But those first 3 I said, the Eagles, Ravens,
Yes, Eagles
Chargers and
Ravens
Falcons.
is game of the week for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. No, this is a rough again. This is a game slate of games, a lot of divisional matchups, which the NFL does every year. But unfortunately, you're seeing a lot of bottom feeders against the top teams in the division. So you're probably not going to see really a lot of good football this weekend. So with the schedule, but yeah, a couple other games. Minnesota beat the Bears. Bears again finding new ways to lose. It just them too. They were down by 10. They recovered the onside kick. They forced overtime, and then Caleb Williams talking about growing pains, took a terrible sack that basically would end up ending their overtime drive. And then Minnesota drove down the field, kicked the game-winning field goal. Minnesota's the better team right now. The Bears going through some growing pains, and they've lost now. What is it, like 4 in a row, and they're probably done for the year with that. And then speaking of upsets, Tennessee, which I was thrilled about because it helps the Giants draft pick, knocked off Houston.
Yeah.
Houston really being let down. I think they've lost 4 of their last 5 after getting off to a red hot start. And I think some of it is, and I mentioned this when the Jets beat them on Thursday night, because the Jets, as bad as the Jets are, have really limited 2 years in a row they played the Texans. And 2 years in a row, they really limited C.J. Stroud. And I wonder if the league, possibly following something the Jets figured out, I can't believe I said that, is starting to figure out maybe how to limit C.J. Stroud. And that Texan team now needs to adjust after it feels like the rest of the league has adjusted, because I think even the Titans figured something out as they win by 5. Lee, what are your thoughts on the Texans and their stumbling as of late, even though they'll probably still win that very, very soft division?
Yeah, it could be a sleeper, right? I mean, they could be a sleeper down the line, but like I said, I pay so little attention to that division because of what you just said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're all terrible except for Houston.
Yeah, it's another top heavy year in the NFL. And again, I'm not complaining. This does happen sometimes, but Ray, like I said, you said it. There is 4 or 5 teams right now that are like, wow. And then there's 4 or 5 teams at the bottom that are like, wow.
Yeah.
That's the story of the NFL this season. I think it's unlikely one of these middle pack teams does anything.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I don't, again, maybe Baltimore, but like that maybe a little bit more, maybe Pittsburgh, but like that's really it. Like, that's really it.
It's, I mean, like you said, and even if one of those teams gets passed around, it's, the 4 teams we mentioned at the top right now at this point of the season,
yes,
Detroit, if they're not in the Super Bowl, I'm just shocked.
Yeah. If it's not like Detroit, Kansas City, or Philly, Buffalo, or like,
it's gotta be.
Yeah,
Philly
I mean, or honestly, dominant. Like what I would love to see Buffalo, Detroit, because somebody has to win.
Right.
Been saying that for several years that's a possibility. But one more game before we get into the Eagles game and the Giants game. Good for Denver beats the Broncos, and Denver right now starting to really solidify that last wild card in the AFC. Bo Nix, I said it in the draft. Everybody thought I was crazy. I said, man, that's a great draft pick for them. Because I was hoping Bo Nix was going to fall to the second round for the Giants, and he didn't even get out of the top. He was the 12th overall pick with Denver, and
it's working.
The last month, right? Him too. He had some growing pains at the beginning of the year, and the last month he has been playing phenomenally. He has caught up to the speed of the NFL, and Denver is looking good right now. Again, I don't think they go anywhere, but Denver's suddenly looking like a playoff team with rookie Bo Nix at the helm. Damn, I wish he was a Giant.
Well, when we get to the Giants, we can talk about it.
Yeah. So now we'll talk about the Eagles. The Eagles, absolutely. I mean, it was close early.
Yeah, surging.
But yeah, the Eagles are surging. They've won, again, I think it's 7 in a row now. 7 in a row. I wanted to double check.
Our last loss was to the Bucs.
Yes. By the way, we'll get into again, beat up on the Giants. Their playoff hope's still alive with that win, but the Eagles clicking on all cylinders. You had a couple of rough injuries on Sunday, but still Jalen, as we all said he would, Jalen Hurts obviously coming back around, and Saquon Barkley setting all kinds of records, including franchise rushing records, most rushing yards in a game for an Eagle ever. And of course, as all my Eagle fan friends have been saying, Philadelphia Eagle legend Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I mean, look, the Eagles are looking great right now. They're playing well on defense, but they're particularly playing well on offense.
Well, there's so many tools. I mean, there's so many things. Like, first off, we haven't had a running back like this since Shady McCoy. I mean, it's insane, like the amount of tools that we have. And look, they're flying high right now, pun intended. I'm looking at the schedule here. Like, we've got some real tests coming up. Obviously, the Ravens. In a few weeks, we play the Steelers, and then it's the full division to end the season, which could hurt us or help us. Most likely going to help us the last 3 games of the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go 2-2 here the next 4 weeks. But there's so many tools. I mean, the culture is thriving. Ray, I said it after that loss to the Bucs that Sirianni shaved his head. He put all the attention on him. And I really do think that might have been the game plan, because they have been calm and collected and playing great football since that week. It is still Super Bowl or bust for this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I'll even say NFC. Like, if you lose to Detroit in the NFC Championship, I think he's fine.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, look, they're just playing so well. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah. If that offense has got to be terrifying. If you're playing it, wonderful, terrible. I mean, like what Saquon is doing, I mean, he's not just playing well. He's dominating the position right now. He's looking like a Hall of Fame running back.
Yes.
The things he's doing are insane. But, look, I'm not teasing the Giants here, but this is a testament with what culture can do, what certain players in certain positions can do. Like, this guy's thriving, and he's being humble with it. I mean, he's saying things like, we broke the record. He's not saying I broke it. We broke the record. Yeah. He's given up plays for younger guys to get experience. They served it up on a tee when Jones got released for him to go nuts on the Giants, and he didn't. He says, like, look, I found my way when I left that team. Maybe he can too. Like, he's humble, like good. Seems like a good guy. And I'm again, I have to ask, how the hell did you let this guy go? Is beyond me. Like just on his character alone, why would you let this guy go?
So I'm going to give, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Chris Collinsworth said something very insightful on Sunday night.
Yeah.
He compared Saquon and his situation to Marshall Faulk and what happened in the mid-90s. For those who remember, Marshall Faulk was the number 2 overall draft pick for the Indianapolis Colts, much like Saquon was the number 2 overall draft pick for the Giants. And what the Giants should have done was much like what the Colts did, is that Faulk had a couple of great – his first 2 years, Marshall Faulk was phenomenal. And then he had injury problems. And then the Colts traded him, right? Which is what the Giants should have done last year. They should have traded
him. Yeah.
Yes, they should have got something back.
Something, anything.
Yes, I agree completely. Which is why if anybody gets fired, I don't think Dable gets fired, but our GM might get fired. But again, we're going to get into that in a second. Then Marshall Faulk goes to the Rams, and it's when he becomes a Ram that Marshall Faulk became a Hall of Famer.
And a Super Bowl champion.
I think that's what's going to happen here actually with Saquon. I think he is the modern Marshall Faulk. He's always had the talent. He had some injury problems. The culture wasn't great in Indianapolis. They made some changes. Now, to be fair, when they traded him, they stunk, and then they got Peyton. They used that draft pick to draft Peyton Manning.
Right.
And right now, the Giants are on track to have the number 1 overall draft pick. And I do believe this is a very good draft class. So again, if the Giants draft the quarterback of the future, which they have to, I think it's Quinn Ewers out of Texas, personally, but this is shaping, because then remember, and then of course Peyton led the Colts several years later to a Super Bowl. This is feeling very much like what happened in the 90s around the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts were a laughingstock. The Colts were in a lot of trouble. They had culture issues. Then they brought in Tony Dungy. And they drafted Peyton Manning, and then the rest is history, right? So people forget this. People are very, very down on the Giants. They should be very, very down on the Giants. This can turn around very, very quickly if they're smart about it. And the problem is that you don't feel like that right now because they haven't been smart the last few years.
Well,
because you look at what happened. Because again,
Yeah.
how do you let somebody like Saquon go for nothing?
And I'll say this again too. You do have a lot of the pieces to the puzzle. All right,
like the Giants have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah,
they have their offensive line is the best the offensive line has played in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
the Giants did a good job, and this is also why they knew, and we're going to get into it in a second, why Daniel Jones was the problem. They're like, here it is, weapons, offensive line, everything you need. And again, folks want to say, how can you let Saquon go? Saquon would not necessarily be doing what he's doing this year in Philadelphia. In New York, that might not have happened. He might have been done.
Oh, I agree with that.
Mental thing, but you got Tyrone Tracy, who's a very good rookie, having a very good rookie year for a running back, right? You like, to your point, the Giants have the pieces to the point where I do believe that if they get Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck, who I think is who they will take one of those two, then I think the Giants, in a couple of years, they're going to be right back in the conversation, because I really do think it has. And when we get to our game in a little bit, you're going to see how it was. It really is a quarterback issue in New York.
Well, and again, we knew that though. And that's what boggles my mind, Ray, is that this could, I mean, yeah, sure, we confirmed it, but like, I still don't get it. I still don't get how they put all their chips on Daniel Jones. You're going to let a guy like Saquon go. I don't understand the thinking there. And I'm going to say this again. I said it last week. Why you would put that on camera to a national TV audience is beyond me. Like, why would it's the low point? You guys are at the lowest of the lows right now. And I do think you will bounce back quick, but they have got to make some cultural changes. And again, 100%. Getting rid of Jones was the first one. Now, again, I will say this. You got rid of Jones, literally. And I don't know why Giants fans thought DeVito was going to be anything there. After the loss last week, people, I can't believe. What are you talking about? That kid, who seems like a good kid, is not an NFL quarterback.
And let's no, he's a backup. He's a backup.
He's a backup to the backup. You have a good quarterback there.
That's the thing.
I don't understand that.
Tommy DeVito and Daniel Jones, by the way, both seem like very nice individuals, and I wish them all the best.
Sure.
But you're setting me up for our game here. I have looked. So by the way, Daniel Jones 3-13 over the last 2 years as the Giants starter. Tommy DeVito 3-4. I have taken the stat lines. 5 stat lines from Tommy, 5 stat lines from Daniel Jones.
Oh, God.
You tell me who is who. Okay. I'm going to give you a stat line, and you tell me if it's Tommy DeVito or Daniel Jones. All right? 22 of 37, 190 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
DeVito.
Daniel Jones.
No way.
Daniel Jones. 20 of 26, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Is that DeVito?
No, that's Daniel Jones.
That's Daniel Jones. So it's 2 different quarterbacks there. Yeah.
15 of 20, 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Are these all Daniel Jones?
No.
That's DeVito.
That is the DeVito line. That is the DeVito line.
Yeah.
Sounds
like the same quarterback, right?
That's the point I'm getting to. That's the point I'm getting to. Again, and here, I'll give you stat lines from wins. 23 of 34, 257, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Those were all losses. This is a win. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
DeVito.
No, that's a Daniel Jones.
I'm not going to be able to know who it is because it's the same stats.
Because they're exactly the same.
How much did you pay Jones? And how much did you pay DeVito?
DeVito's getting $1 million. Daniel Jones was getting $40 million. That's the thing. Is that, and again, and remember, I said you had to re-sign Jones after beating the Vikings in the playoffs, but the money and the length you gave him was ridiculous. And you need to, as an organization, you needed to be like, we're the New York Giants. We're going to let you walk. Because that's what Daniel Jones is, a good backup. He is a backup quarterback. the same as Tommy DeVito. They are, Lee. I looked at this. I looked at and look, and I just picked 5. But if I looked at all, like I could have gone further. The stat lines are so eerily similar.
Why aren't you paying your actual backup? You know what? It's because you're trying to tank for the draft.
We're tanking for the draft. We're tanking, and that's the other reason. And Drew Lock is not playing, who is our number 2 guy, because he has up to $5 million in incentives if he starts too many games. So again, you spent 40 million. You spent 40 million, but now you're trying to save 5 million.
Wow.
Do you want to keep playing the game, Lee? I got all kinds more. I got more stat lines.
It was Daniel DeVito.
Daniel
Daniel DeVito.
They're exactly
Tommy Jones.
The same. Tommy Jones. There you go.
Yeah.
Tommy Jones. They're exactly the same. They're the same quarterback. And that's the thing why also our receiver Malik Neighbors needs to shut up. I had an issue with him when he asked them to unretire a number at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And now he came out and he said, we're all playing soft. We're soft.
Yeah, I saw that. He's the leader.
And look, I get it. You're not wrong. But calling everybody out in the media and being mad that it's not a quarterback problem. No, it is a quarterback problem, Malik. It is. It's always been a quarterback problem. The thing is you don't think it's a quarterback problem because you can't tell the difference between DeVito and Jones, just like the stats can't. The numbers don't lie. The issue has been at quarterback. It always has been at quarterback. Yeah, or at least for the last 6 years, it's been at quarterback. And I'm sorry, but you got rid of the problem. Now the Giants can heal. It's like an infection. The infection's out now. You can heal. I can't believe how eerily similar their stat lines were.
Yeah, I mean, well, it tells you something, dude. I mean, well, Ray, I will tell you this. We are about to find out if that was the problem. Now, yes, I agree with you that that's a problem. I do. I think the problem is also they don't have a leader on this team.
Yeah.
You definitely need someone in that quarterback position. There's no doubt. But we're about to find out what the problem really was. And the thing is, the Giants fans ready to throw the book at the team after one game. It's like, guys, relax. You got to see that what this is. You can't get pissed that DeVito didn't win his game.
Yeah. Honestly, again, I don't want to win.
Yeah.
I don't want to win at this point.
It didn't help that Saquon had a career day, but
no, for sure. I get it. But again, for the folks who don't understand football, there is no guarantee that if we kept Saquon that he was going to be doing this kind of thing.
He wouldn't be. He wouldn't be. This is Saquon on a winning team. The problem I have, I'm going to say this again. It's like, it's not that you should have kept him. It's that you got nothing for him.
Yes.
That's the problem I have.
Again,
you could have traded him for a lot.
The Colts got a 2nd and a 5th round pick for Marshall Faulk back in the day. I would have been happy with just a 3rd round pick for Saquon.
That's what I'm saying. You got nothing for him. And you let it. Oh, it was dumb.
Again, the Giants
should have kept him, Ray. Just you dumb.
The Giants should have, again this year they didn't make any trades. Like, you have pieces that people want.
Yeah. Well, this is where they're stubborn and stupid and don't make good decisions.
And again,
but people are going to get fired too.
Well, and here's the thing is, again, I don't think Dable should be fired. I really don't think it's.
I don't think so, but he probably will be.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think it's more and more likely every week. Because when Malik Neighbors
are coaches out there. I mean, you know what the most New York move in the world would be right now after this season?
You fire him, hire Bill Belichick.
Yep, and I believe that likely to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
they have the pieces. They have what he needs.
They have what he wants.
Right.
They have.
And
they have the defense.
In New York.
And the thing is, and it's tempting. Could you imagine if he could turn Kayvon Thibodeau into the next Lawrence Taylor? Yeah. I know that's obviously I'm pie in the sky.
Well, here's the thing. This is what you're competing with. Is that there's a possibility the Eagles would be interested in him too. Sure. Right. So and if I'm him and I'm looking at the Eagles or the Giants, I'm picking the Eagles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we'll see.
Absolutely.
That would be. I mean, he's coached in New York before, right? Like he could totally do this job.
Oh, absolutely.
He wants to nostalgically. I don't think any Giants fan would have a problem with that right
now. No. If you fire Dable and you get a new GM, and because that's the thing too, is that like Belichick's going to want some roster control, kind of like what he had in New England.
And you should give it to him
100%. And then you go to see the quarterback he wants, and like hopefully, again. You get like a Quinn Ewers or a Carson Beck. I do not want Shedeur Sanders. People are like, but Shedor's so good. I do not want the Shedeur Sanders circus. Like, the last thing the Giants need is that circus if they're trying to do a culture change, right? Plus, Shedeur has basically hinted at he wants to be a Raider. The Raiders are also going to have a top 5 pick.
I don't know. I might disagree with you a little bit. I don't know if he would be bad for New York. He's a very New York style player. I do agree with you. He doesn't want to go to the Giants.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that that's going to be the player available at number. Like, why would you take him first overall, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or second overall. There's better people out there.
Well, that's my thought. My thought, I would rather have Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck. Again, and I actually got into an argument. We had somebody commented this on our short from last week talking about Daniel Jones getting benched and now obviously released in the week since, where somebody was like, why do you want a Shedeur? Because I'm like, because competition matters. The level of competition matters. The parity, things are getting closer. But the level of competition in the SEC versus the level of competition in the Big 12 is a big difference. And I think it's also a big difference, the fact that, I mean, look, he's playing for his dad. I do think that matters. Some. And I think that
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think he'll fit in New York, and he wants to be a Raider.
If he wants to be a Raider, that's probably where he'll end up. Yeah, because he'll probably hold out until he gets it.
Well, yeah, it'll be like a Eli and Phillip Rivers thing or something, right? Like, yeah, it's
worked out for everybody.
It worked out for everybody, particularly us. But yeah, it's one of those things. He wants to be a Raider. Let him be a Raider. Go to Vegas. Have fun. Like, I want Carson Beck or I want Quinn Ewers. I want the guys out of the SEC. I want the kid out of Texas or the kid out of Georgia. Like, it's that simple, right? And people but Cam Ward, don't care. ACC quarterback, no. I want an SEC quarterback.
Yes, you do.
It's just the way it is, guys. Like, but yeah. So yeah, very football heavy sports.
Yeah, it's all right. As I said a few minutes back, buddy, it's top heavy and low heavy right now.
Yeah. So
I will say, just in closing again, Philadelphia Eagles are looking like a Super Bowl team right now, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look again. The top 4 teams in the league is Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Detroit.
Easy. I would be fine stopping the season now and just watching that
and letting those be the conference championships. 100%.
Yes.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
Right.
So, no, I agree with that 100%. So moving on now to video games.
Video games.
The video games. Lee, I was up till 5 a.m. last night.
That's not night, Ray. That's the morning.
In the morning. Yes.
That's your 5 a.m.
My 5 a.m. Yes.
So wait a minute. The time gods.
Yes. So I got like 2 hours sleep.
So you went to bed when I was up already for tomorrow.
Yes.
So I was in the future, or you were in the past.
Sort of. Yes.
I could have called you.
You could have. And I could have told you all about the fact that I didn't just beat Dragon Age. I 100%ed Dragon Age
already.
Yes.
78. So you haven't been sleeping for weeks.
No. Well, a week.
Holy hell! You beat 100% of Dragon Age in a week?
In 70 hours. So 70 hours.
Oh my goodness, Ray. That is obsession, and I am so proud of you.
Yeah. So 7 10-hour days, put in full days of work. Yeah. But yeah, 7 10-hour days. And I still did my theater stuff and I was bouncing around. I did all kinds of stuff. But yeah.
It sounds like a great week. I was saying you must have loved that.
Yeah. I 100%ed it. And
are you thus the god amongst men? No, it is he, Ray the Carsillo.
I'm giving the game a 9 out of 10. And I will say it is the best
praise from you.
Yeah. And it's mostly for technical bugs. Some technical bugs and whatnot. I will say this is the best thing. Now, obviously, there's been a massive gap since their last game. But this is the best game that BioWare has done since Mass Effect 2.
Wow. That's massive praise.
Yes. So we've had 2 other Dragon Ages and 2 other Mass Effect games since then.
Yes.
This is the best game since Mass Effect 2 by BioWare. I thought it was phenomenal. I loved the characters. I loved the world. I loved how it finally wraps up Solus's story. I love how and then if you 100% it, you get the tease for I don't think it's gonna be DLC, but like for what could be the next game, because you gotta have a tease, right? There's always going to be a bad guy. Yeah, it's always got to be a bad guy that you got to go after. And it was very smart how they did it and how they weaved it through the narrative and how they're setting things up for a next game or a really massive expansion pack. I think it's going to be a next game though. It should be another game. And yeah, just unbelievably done. I mean, again, I can't sing its praises enough. The fact that
Game of the year, Ray? Game of the year?
Right now?
Yeah.
For me, with a couple more things to play, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for me, yes.
Cannot wait to get this for my wife and not see her for 7 months because she could probably play 1 hour a day for 7 months.
Yeah. So 70 days. So 1 hour a day.
70 days. You beat it in a week.
Yes.
You're a crazy son of a bitch. You know that?
Yep.
You 100%ed it in 70 hours.
100%ed.
My God. We just hooked up a Nintendo 64 in the potato couch room. You want to come over? We could play a little Warzone.
Yeah. It was a little harder to 100% games back in the day.
We can 100% one of these games.
Yeah, I could probably.
Majora's Mask? Well, come on, man. You can get lost.
And we're going to get to Zelda in a second. But the reason I also want to bring up Dragon Age is 2 things. We also had the Game Awards announced this week. I don't know what the state of video game journalism right now sickens me. Because the fact that this game only got 1 nomination and not even for best RPG. It got nominated for best accessibility options, which is important and great, and I hope it wins. But I want to see what was nominated for best RPG for Game Awards real quick. Like, I want to pull these up because I don't know what people are voting for. First off, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree. The fact that that's up for Game of the Year and best RPG, that's a DLC. It's not a game, it's a DLC. Okay? Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth is an action game. It's not even an RPG. So the fact that those 2 games take up 2 slots in the best RPG category and Dragon Age Veilguard, a true RPG, is nowhere near that category.
Well, how is that possible?
I don't know.
Like how? I mean, we got
as somebody who used to have a vote in this award show.
Yeah, but I don't understand, Ray. Like, it is an RPG. Like, so how could they miss that? I mean, that seems kind of like a massive oversight.
That's the thing. I don't understand how this didn't even get a nomination. Like, I'm just, my mind is boggled by a lot of, like, and it's not just that category, it's categories across the board.
Right.
And like, and I don't understand why. I mean, look, it's not a badly rated game, but it's only got an 81, and I don't understand what people are looking for. I'm going to get into what I think some of it is, which is sad, but I think sad but true. But like, the fact that this didn't even get a nod when you have a game that isn't an RPG and a game that's a DLC, it's not a game in there, that you need a DLC that you need. It's not even a standalone. You need to have the base game. If you don't have base Elden Ring, you can't play the Erd Tree DLC. It's not a game. That's a DLC.
I don't understand. That's what I'm trying to say. This seems like kind of messed up.
Like, I don't get what people are looking for or how they're voting. And I get it. It's been several years since I've had a vote and a say in this process. But I feel like year after year, this award show, which, by the way, shouldn't happen in December when you still have games being released. It should happen at the earliest in January.
I agree with that, too.
How every year it gets less and less credible. Just admit it what it is. The awards show, the game awards, are just an excuse to put trailers and make money and to have commercials, and you give out some trophies that don't mean anything.
I think that's fair, Ray.
There's no standards, I feel like, anymore in games journalism. And I feel like that in this, like, there should be some kind of, like, a governing body. Like, obviously you want to give all these people votes for sure, but there should be, like, a governing body or something over this to be like, the moron voters messed this up. We need to fix this.
Right.
In the games journalists, because it's like, Where's Dragon Age in any of the categories?
I don't get it. I don't. People need to stop supporting this. That's what needs to happen.
Well, don't forget, folks, you can go see me at the Ice House during the Game Awards here in LA. That's part of the reason why I took the gig. It's like, I don't want to watch the show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to give people, and I actually have friends from the game industry who are going to come see me because they don't want to see the show either. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke. So
I'm sorry you have to deal with it. Well, it is a joke if Dragon Age is not listed as an RPG. This is like back in the 90s when like they would have like hard metal album and they put country up there. It's like, what are you doing? You guys don't understand your own industry?
Well, and that's like the root of things. And I get it. There's a lot of games that have RPG elements. But if you can't distinguish between something that has RPG elements, like a dragon, and something that is an RPG like Dragon Age, maybe you shouldn't be writing about video games.
Yeah, well, maybe you should get my buddy here, Ray Carsillo, back and get some credibility.
Yeah, like, just saying. But I do also want to point out that they're also part of this, I wonder, is that some of the controversy, because we also know the dark corners of the internet have been lobbying against Dragon Age because they're calling it too woke. Because the game has a non-binary character.
Oh no! In a fantasy world, no.
It was, by the way, it's a Kunari, which if you're familiar with Dragon Age, is basically like a half dragon, half person thing.
So in a world where this already exists, the woke mob.
Yeah. A species, a fantastical species that has been around for 15 years, which is when Dragon Age was started in 2009. Now suddenly, that character thinks it's not. It identifies as they, them. So screw you, EA. Screw you, Dragon Age. I'm not gonna play the game. Look, it is your right to not play the game for whatever reason you want. But the second you start spouting your stupid opinion, it's when we all have to deal with it. And unfortunately, if this has influenced anyone, you are ignoring one of the best gaming experiences of the year for something that doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to people, obviously, who want to be represented and all that stuff. But I mean, it's something that does not affect you. Like, who cares? Like,
Ray, these are the same people that think R2-D2 has a dick and C-3PO has a vagina.
They're robots! They're robots!
There's your micro clip. No, I was kidding. Listen, they're not real.
They're not. That's the thing. It's like, who
R2-D2
cares
is a they, them.
Who cares what's in their pants?
Actually,
like, it's frictional pants. You're just mad because no one cares what's in your pants. That's what you're mad about. You worthless moron.
R2-D2 identifies as an astromech droid, and C-3PO identifies as a protocol droid.
Yeah. And you know what, Lee? And you know what was beautiful about Dragon Age? What was great? So let me tell you a little bit about Dragon Age, right? While I'm chasing the girl Nev for the romantic relationship, right? She's the detective with the nice ass, right? So that's what I'm going for, right? And that's perfectly fine. You know what I also did? I had my bisexual dwarf friend hook up with the non-binary Kunari. I played matchmaker, and I'm like, great! All the characters, all these people are happy. Isn't that wonderful?
No, we can't be happy about that, right?
Why not? Everybody's happy.
Ray, we have to complain. It's the American way.
It shouldn't be. This is ridiculous. And if you scored this game less, or you're boycotting it over something like this, your priorities, in my opinion, are messed up. See how I said in my opinion the same way? And you might not care, but I don't care about your opinion really either when it comes to this. If that's the way you feel. I'm not going to play Dragon Age. I'm going to not put Dragon Age as best RPG because it has a non-binary half dragon, half lady with jade horn in it. I type away angry on YouTube. Get
this
over yourself. Speaking of mashup.
Speaking of this week's mashup.
Oh my God. Get over yourselves. Like, it's not that big. All you're doing is robbing yourself of a phenomenal piece of art and a phenomenal experience. And now EA has said that they worry that this controversy has affected sales of the game. And if I don't get a Dragon Age 5 because of you mouth-breathing morons, I am going to go nuts. Because I've been waiting 10 years. I've been waiting 10 years to see how this series continues. And if I have to wait another 10 years, or God forbid, BioWare goes down, or EA gets sold, or whatever is going to happen right now with the gaming industry, I'm going to have an aneurysm.
What I don't understand, if this was some play that it was forced in the game, there have been situations where even I felt, okay, you're forcing this on us a little bit. This doesn't seem genuine. This seems like you're doing it because you feel like you need to do it. There's a conversation there for sure. But this is not new to this world, to this game, to fantasy. It's not new. No. That's why I don't understand it. So the people calling it out, like, first, you probably don't know anything about this type of gaming. Right. And not to mention, guys, this is like when the Little Mermaids, like, Little Mermaid can't be black. It's a mermaid. It's not real. And they can be whatever color we want them to be. Yeah. Because it's not about that, first off. No. But I just don't understand. It's a fantasy world. Yeah. Right. And Ray, did it feel forced, or was it just like,
no, it really didn't. In fact, I thought it was really well done. Yeah. There's conversations about, there is a point where basically she gets introduced as a she, and she basically is like, she's kind of, it's an interesting character development where she's kind of like, because you can romance anybody in the game, sure, as is typical of BioWare games, right? Because again, you do what you want.
Yeah.
Who cares? If it makes you happy, it makes you happy.
Yeah,
and again,
it's a choice too. They give you the choice.
Yeah. And she kind of has this really natural storyline where it kind of mimics somebody kind of coming out of the closet, and like you actually even go with her when she confronts her mother, and there's like really, but it makes sense in a way of like, yes, is there a commentary line of how, like, can you see the commentary? Yes. Does it feel forced? No, because it feels like the same way everybody else has where you have to help everybody else has a story where the dwarf suddenly gets magic powers and doesn't know how to use them, or your necromancer wants to become a lich and so you have to help him become a lich. It's the same way of characters becoming their true.
That's my point. Is there's this all or nothing, black or white attitude with this stuff, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, look, no matter where you stand on what we're talking about, right? And again, who am I to judge? I mean, I can judge some of you, but no matter where you stand on this,
I mean, I'm judging folks for having these.
It's just like, it doesn't affect you. This is what I never got about this. And it's like, we've seen this throughout human culture, right? It's like, it's a problem till it's not. And again, it's like, it's not like they're forcing an agenda on you in the video game, right? It's just, it's a character. Like, I don't get it. And it's not even human. Like, that's what I don't get.
And it just, and again, for the folks who are probably thrilled to have that in some way, like, again, I did the pot. It just,
do you remember the film Enemy Mine?
Never seen it.
With Dennis Quaid. I mean, they're remaking it. And this film is from the 80s. It's a fantastic film. Mm-hmm. And in this film, the male of the species gives birth. Yeah. No one complained. Nobody said anything about it. In fact,
it happens in nature.
Exactly. And in the film, the man gives birth, the alien gives birth, I should say, to a son, and the main character, Dennis Quaid's character, basically adopts the kid and raises him. Mm-hmm. Right? Not one complaint do I remember about that film. I'm sure there were some. Don't get me wrong. All right, I wasn't at the theater, but it's like nobody worried about it back then. This is 40 years ago, Ray.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. It was a great film. You should absolutely see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And again, I don't know if it's because of internet culture. I don't know if it's because of.
It's just culture today, and I believe in the future we'll get past it.
I hope so. Look, folks, take it from me as a video game expert. Play Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
There you go.
Play it's if you have Game Pass, it's 10% off.
There we go. I have Game Pass. Right.
So yeah, so you get it for $63 instead of $70, and who knows, maybe it'll be even on sale for Black Friday this weekend. But play Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and romance whoever you want in your fictional video game and have fun. That's what video games are. Have fun. And again, it's the quest line where she wants to finds herself as they, them. It's the same style of character development as all the other characters finding their true. That's what the moral of the game is. Everybody finding their true self. Whether you're a they, them, whether you're a lich lord, whether you're a stone mason, stone mancer, whatever, right? Or if you're like me and you're just, you're gonna go straight for the big booty. Like you do whatever you want, folks. Yeah, I romanced Nev, the detective lady. So, but anyway,
good for you, Ray.
Yeah. So, but again, have fun. Play it. That's why it's an RPG. You can play it however you want.
Right.
You can play it however you want.
Role-playing game. It's in the name. It's in the name.
And yet, it still didn't get a nomination.
Anyway. Stupid. Yeah, someone messed up there.
One last story here before we wrap up this week. Nintendo has updated the official Legend of Zelda timeline. And I'm actually not surprised by this, and I'm very happy that it is official. Echoes of Wisdom, the new Legend of Zelda game that we talked about a few weeks ago, officially takes place in the Hero is Defeated timeline. It takes place after Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes, but before the original Legend of Zelda.
Wow.
So, not surprisingly, done in the same style, which you have Link, very, very quick succession. Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes, and now you have Echoes of Wisdom. And then several centuries later, you have the original Legend of Zelda. So, in the timeline, it has found its place. And again, Nintendo has reiterated, because everything has to have a multiverse, that Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild is a whole other thing, a whole other timeline. I am glad we are back in the sacred timeline. I'm glad that we are back. That's why I call it the Zelda sacred timeline. I'm glad we are back there. But that's just a little nerd thing for me, little geek thing for me.
Love it.
That I particularly enjoy. For some folks, another thing. I hate the internet. People are like, why do people care about the Zelda timeline? It's a little bit of canon and a little bit of lore that I happen to enjoy, that it adds a little extra depth, a little extra seasoning to my enjoyment of the Legend of Zelda.
I like the way you played that, right? And especially for us, the original Legend of Zelda was a very important moment in our gaming and geekdom past. Yes. That to have another chapter in that story is wonderful.
Exactly. And we're celebrating it. And they said it. Like, it was always meant to be in this big part of the timeline. And then they just realized they had a game that we were going to make Zelda the hero. And again, love it.
Love it.
I love it. It's great. It's a great game. Play that too. Not going to be my game of the year. I like Dragon Age better. But, I'll say this. Zelda will definitely finish in my top 10.
Yes.
Might even be top 5.
It's dangerous to go alone. Play this.
Yes. No, it's actually been a really good year, really good year for games. There's a couple more games I want to play before I do my official top 10. Stay tuned. We'll do another Geeks Who Like Sports official top 10 video game special. Because of course I've been keeping track. Even though I don't work for a gaming, I'll work for them again soon. Because I think we mentioned it before. EGM did get the Kickstarter, I think 10,000% over what we asked for. Yeah. I mean, we raised, and again, thank you to everybody. If you over almost $1 million on Kickstarter, we asked for, I think 35,000. We got almost $1 million. Like, that's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Like it was really something. So I will at least freelancing for them when to do the special.
Get my compendium.
Yes. I'll be
signed by Ray.
I could do that.
You're going to do it. I wasn't asking you to do it. You're going to do it.
I need to practice my signature.
Yeah, I get plenty of practice. It come right back to you.
Yeah, I did that with somebody asked me to sign the program when I did the Superman thing a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I signed Ray, even though I go by Ray. Obviously, I go by Ray, but my full name for those numbers is Raymond. I signed
Raymond.
Raymond. Yeah. So I signed Raymond. I was like, oh well, like because I'm not used to like once in a blue moon somebody will ask me for an autograph, and the last time I did an autograph,
I had a whole classroom of kids ask me the other day, but I can only do one, so I signed a book and left it.
That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, I did the last time I did an autograph. I can tell you it was Comic-Con 2022.
I know I asked you for that. I appreciate it. Still to this day, I have it framed on the wall. No, go ahead. Tell the people the story.
Somebody wanted me because I helped write the did the interviews at the back of the book for the art book for the Evil Dead video game for the special edition. So there were people who were buying special editions there at Comic-Con or just the art book. And when they realized that not only was I being the cashier at the convention booth, but that I helped write that book, somebody was like, "Could you please sign my copy?" And I was like,
cool.
"Sure." And so yeah, so I mean, again, it doesn't happen often, but it's cool when it does. But it's like, oh yeah, like the fact that it happens so rarely that I can remember the instances that it's happened.
Well, practice up, Ray, because I'm going to need my compendium signed by the one and only Ray Carsillo, not Raymond, Ray.
No, Ray. I know I need to do Ray. I need to do it as Ray. But yeah, that'll be coming in 2025 at some point. So yeah, that was amazing. So yeah, but again, to my point, even though I don't work for a gaming magazine really anymore, I still keep track of all the games I play because I'm crazy and come up with a top 10 list that we'll have for Geeks Who Like Sports.
Well, I'm excited to hear it.
It's been a good year for games, particularly the top games. Right. There's been a lot of not so good games either, but the top games, I've got some really good ones, and I'm glad. The first half of the year, it just usually happens. The first half of the year, I have a game of the year candidate, and it kind of just like stays there for a while. And the two games that I had at the top have already fallen to like 4th and 5th, and we're at 5th and 6th, I think. So like, that's how you know that. To me, that's how you know it's a good year for games. Like when Resident Evil 7 was my game of the year, that stayed my game of the year from January to December. That is a very, very rare feat. But we still have time. I have to go play Metaphor Refantasio and Indiana Jones before
I'm interested in that one myself.
Yeah, before I do my final list. So, The Legend of Zelda, new timeline update.
New geek.
I am such a
That's
geek.
the point.
I love the Zelda timeline. I have the Hyrule Compendium. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. Anyway, Lee, that's the show.
That's the show. We did it. Dun 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 dun.
Da 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 da. Show over. All right.
That's my sound signature. Da, 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 da.
Yes. So, but yeah, as always, folks, thank you all for watching. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Let me. I want to know, by the way, what do you play? If you're playing Dragon Age, what is your class? I was a Warrior Grey Warden, which goes back to the original Dragon Age. And yeah, I would love to see them somehow go. Very little bit had ties back to the original Dragon Age. I would love for them to do more with that in the future. Specifically, your main character who kind of just disappears at the end. But I always do Grey War. I prefer, if I play through a second time, I play a mage. The first time I do Grey. Oh my God, Lee, that's one of the best things. I have to tell you, you know what's great about being a warrior in the game now? You're Captain America. You can throw your shield like Captain America.
That's pretty cool.
And you can do you can put it into skill tree so it gets more ricochets like Captain America, and then you can add poison damage. So you're just seeing like bing, 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 necrosis, which of course like poison damage, right? Like death damage, like, and it's just like it's not like I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. I'm Captain America. I'm medieval Captain. It's 1602. It's Marvel 1602. I'm medieval Captain America. I love it. It's a little thing. It's a little thing like that, Lee, that makes me go, yes.
You don't look excited at all about this.
Loved it. I loved my time with it, man. 70 hours.
That's pretty cool. No, Ray, I haven't seen you this excited about a game in a while. It's actually refreshing.
My whole life absolutely got put on a hold while I played this game, and I don't care that I'll be homeless in 6 months. But like, I got Dragon
But the show will continue no matter what.
The show will continue.
Ray live from the road.
Reseda and Ventura. But I was somehow bleaching Wi-Fi off the coffee.
Yeah. Beautiful Starbucks.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. But yeah, no. You're Captain America. Warrior build, you can be Captain America. How great is that?
That is pretty cool. I got to see this. Janet's going to play it. I'm going to watch.
Yes, if she chooses to be Warrior. I can see her going mage. Actually,
she could be a warrior. She could do a lot of things.
I was gonna say she could be rogue too, but I feel like Dr. Jan would be a mage.
Well, I'll report back to you.
Yes, let me know what she does, and you too, everybody out there. Let us know what your class builds are. Did you play as a human? Right, like I'm a basic bitch. I was human warrior, Grey Warden. Right, like I get it. That's how I like to play though. However you like to play, you have fun. But let us know, because I'm curious. Did you warrior Kunari? Did you go as a Lords of Fortune? There are so many choices. Choices, Lee. There's so many choices.
Role playing game.
It's amazing. That's the show, everybody. For Lee, I'm Ray. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You can be a necromancer. You can do so much.